Good evening, Friday nights. Episode 66 of Lesbian Talk. If only we could add an extra 6 to that, then we could be truly satanic. Even though it's not actually the number of the beast, it's 616. There was a misprint.
Misprint in the Bible. Sorry, autocorrect. Sorry.
Okay, this is a new episode where we're going to talk about weighty subjects like David Tennant's Doctor. But to begin with, we're going to talk about the fact that we are delighted that Rantasmo is on That Guy with the Glasses.
Needs more gay. That's a song. And he can copyright that if he wants.
Really should.
Yeah.
His first video went up, so he was one of the earliest of the new pickups to actually go onto the site. It's wonderful that he's there.
So they actually redesigned that part of the site to be rainbow. Actually, no, they didn't. That's a lie.
They probably should have.
Although that would have been funny.
It's taken them about 12 years to release the new version of the site. It would probably take them 75,000 years in order just to do a one-day rainbow on it.
Tig pride.
I'm proud to do videos for Tig. Yeah, Rantasmo, I've thought Rantasmo was brilliant from, like, the first time I ever saw him and his videos. That's why he, like, turned up in he turned up in my videos beforehand. Originally, I wanted him to be in episode 50, be one of the guys, like, with you and Jackal and all who were trying to kill me. But in scripting, there was a problem, and so therefore he wasn't part of that.
A tragic scripting accident. Many minions were killed.
Yeah. And then we did the Vegas in Space crossover at MagFest, which was a lot of fun.
And seriously, guys, if you haven't watched it, you should really watch it. And because it's amazing and wonderful, and it has secret Dracula cameos because he was in the room at the time. And you should watch the flubs too, where I realized that I'm directing a porn. So there you go. There's always that.
Yeah, and a woman from the hotel room comes in when we're having Jackal and mime a blowjob.
Oh god, I was so embarrassed. I thought the long and short story of that is that we had a local friend that I know, who was staying in our room for I think like 2 of the nights of the con, and she has some mobility issues. So I knew that she was going to be in a wheelchair, and we're like, that's fine, that's cool. So she got there while we were shooting. And there was a person with her who I thought was a member of her family, and actually was a member of the hotel staff. So we were a little bit more flippant than we should have. Yeah. I just
still ended up
one
okay.
of my defining moments of life right there.
But it ended okay.
It did end okay, but yeah. So you should watch that. It's good.
But I have to say, it has been wonderful to read the comments of his first video on That Guy with the Glasses, with the complete lack of homophobic assholes turning up and saying that our sexuality is political, that we do not belong there, that gay people are evil, the various things that have happened to our, comments over the years.
Well, actually over the past 8 months, because...
Well, yes.
For you, it's over the past few years. But...
Well, yes, it has been happening to me for longer.
I've only been gay since January. No,
so,
I mean, I like Rantasmo, and he's a really great guy. But the thing is that I kind of feel like, wait a second. When the first episode of Lesbian Talk was posted on That Guy with the Glasses, and this was like episode 40, so we were kind of into it at the time. It was, you would have thought that somebody killed a puppy with a piece of the true cross. Like, the goddamn lesbians don't belong on here. I'm going to tell Doug Walker, as if he didn't know about it already. In as much as he and Rob are kind of brothers. But, if people were just like, this is not the place for you. We don't want that politics and the feminism and all your gay shit. It just went for like 3 pages of stuff and no mods deleted anything. So it was just like, and our fans were like, shut up. No, they're awesome. Be quiet. And like fighting the good fight. And I was like, they're their fans. They're there. But, I mean, not that I want people to get bad comments. I just feel like, hey.
And then even before that, there was like, Lindsay did a video about going to New York Pride.
I remember that.
And there was a hell of a lot of comments there, and a lot of them were homophobic as well. It's like, did the site audience, did all the homophobes get banned the second Rantasmo came in?
I know why it happened. Well, Lindsay doesn't have a beard. And neither do I, and neither do you. It's not, I mean, at first I thought, well, maybe because we were trailblazers, we went before him and it cleared the way. It's his beard. It's like, that thing from the Bible, Like the hair has powers. It's the power of his manly beard alone.
Or it could be misogyny, or it could be...
Beard.
Anyway, I'm glad he's not getting the shit, and I'm just hoping that, we don't get the shit. Although
Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about Rantasmo's manly beard. Just saying.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a prediction. Look down at the comments on Let Go with the Glasses on this video, and video/audio, depending on how you're listening to it. And either there will be a lot of comments involving, like, you know, people being homophobic and people responding, or there's going to be almost no comments because our fans listen to the show, but they don't feel the need to comment on it because they have other places to comment on it, and so they commented on your Tumblr or on the your WordPress. The big reason they comment on Let Go with the Glasses is to fight back against homophobes. So either there will
or it's somebody that doesn't like follow your Tumblr or your WordPress being like, I'm from this actual country you discussed, or I know something about what you were talking about. It's like this, and I'm like, really, it is? And they're like, I know, right?
Yeah, that's my prediction. There will either be not that many comments, or there'll be quite a lot of comments, and there will be homophobia.
Don't worry, I'll name this episode something really controversial. So totally,
excellent.
I don't want to listen.
Lesbians are angry at homophobic double standards. Misogyny, rape culture, raw.
That's too long for Blip. It'll be something witty, though. I like to have witty titles. Like, cunning linguists. I'm done with that now. So, you had a topic that you asked me about when I was drunk, so I agreed. Because you like philosophy and I don't.
Well, this one I figured, I know that my position on this matter is very, very minority, and I figure that I can just say some stuff about it and you can sort of disagree with me, and that would be an interesting way to kill 10 minutes.
And then we get divorced. I mean, what? I don't know why I'm singing everything today. I'm very tired.
I mean, we disagree a lot. We don't often get divorced.
That's true. Actually, I think we disagree more over Skype than we do in person. Because whenever we disagree in person, I'm like, I don't want to have that for dinner. I want to go here. Or you're like, no, because things we can't. But then we don't really disagree about major things except for on Skype.
Yeah, sounds fair enough. But the matter we're going to talk about is free will.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep just now. What'd you say? I love you, dear. Best wife.
Of course, with free will, some things, it will depend on how you define things. And I personally don't believe in it. And I feel it is something of an illusion, but how you define things is going to change how you view things on this. So I might actually agree with you, but use a different term for it or whatever.
Well, I think you just do what you can, you know? You just do what you do to get by.
Basically, as a complete, utter, dyed-in-the-wool atheist, I view us as basically quarks, atoms, gluons, whatever, moving.
Yes, but you're discounting the wonder of the human mind.
Which is a side effect of all those atoms and things moving.
Well, no, not really. It's more a side effect of brain chemistry. You can't really put it down to the atomic level, really, because everything comes down to the atomic level.
Well, yeah, that's
Black holes come down to the atomic level. I mean...
Oh, no, my view is that everything is that we have free will. We have free will in the same way a pen that is dropped has the free will to drop.
But it's...
We
even say that, because...
Okay, now I fully admit I can be wrong about this. People can explain to me why I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong because being wrong, it makes you better at things. But if you take the universe as it began, if you go back to the initial starting point of the universe, and then if you replay it, then I think it would come out the same as it did the first time. If everything's exactly the same at the start, and that would indicate to me that there's only one possible outcome.
But you can't even say that because I know that at a certain subatomic level, there are subatomic particles that move chaotically. The orbit of electrons in atoms is something that's defined. Like, it's not something that's chaotic because we know how the elements react in their own different ways because of the properties, the magnetic properties of the parts of the atom. But I remember reading that there is a point at which subatomic particles behave irrationally. They behave chaotically. So that would affect a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that I'm wrong about this.
I already have a headache.
As I view it, the way that atoms behave on the atomic level, like, you know, appearing, disappearing, you know, that sort of thing, with our current understanding,
But atoms don't have free will. All of those things are inanimate. They are part of natural law. They are things of which are ruled by forces, the force of magnetism, yes, the force of gravity. But yes, what I'm trying to say is that those things are being, they are going
they're operating via laws that we don't understand. Maybe they are laws that only apply to the quantum level, but we don't understand them.
I understand magnetism.
Not magnetism. I'm talking about the atomic level, atomic theory stuff, the quantum stuff. That's
for smart people.
I'm talking about quantum stuff.
Stephen Hawking.
Even stuff that
if you're Stephen Hawking, write the show.
Even stuff that appears, as far as we can tell, to be random may well not be random. It might operate via laws. And, I'm not saying that this is all definite because I have no fucking idea. This is just a guess scenario from my view. But as I see it, we are basically machines operating via a program which has been created by evolution.
Well,
I'm completely.
But there's a difference. There's a difference between instinct and there's a difference between like the conscious and unconscious mind. There's so many different variables that factor in to the even minute to minute function of the human brain. You can't make a rash generalization like that. You just can't. We have higher reasoning. We are Homo sapiens sapien, the man who thinks about thinking. And the amount of variables even in the brains of the people that you know, people who have brains that aren't have any defect in any kind of way, like no history of dementia in the family, no damage due to environmental factors or substance abuse, just the people that you know, there is so much variance in their brains, in healthy, normal brains. And then you add in the spectrum of neuroabnormalities. The autism spectrum is a good example of that. You can say you have neurotypical brains, you have unneurotypical brains. It's just, you're trying to codify too much with scientific laws that I don't think really apply in this situation to the extent that you've applied them.
And they may well not.
And that was the longest sentence we've ever had on Lesbian Talk.
This is true.
Doo-doo.
But as a very, very small rebuttal, scientific tests have been done with brains and stuff, and they've worked out.
That sounds really scientific. Yeah, we're gonna research on some brains.
I am really tired. That's why I'm not as articulate as usual. And
I win the whole debate. A winner is me.
My idea of articulation is usually like, which all get cut out.
I know, that's because I do a really good job editing.
But they have done tests which indicate that before someone makes a decision to do something, their brain has already decided it's going to do it.
Oh yeah, there is actual brain lag time, but it's not something that just happens automatically and you're kind of like, huh? What? Whatever. Because here's the thing. So we can find the speeds of a lot of different things. Was that the cat just now?
Yes.
Oh. But we can find the speeds of a lot of different things. Like you can find the speed of sound and the speed of light. But what is the speed of thought? Is it the speed of perception? Or is it actually the speed of exchange of molecules in the brain?
Well, if this, I'm not being philosophical at all. You are only doing something because your mind is only interested in doing something because your brain has made it so. You are a meat machine.
Yes, but here's the thing. Like I said before, what is the speed of thought? Did you think the thought before your consciousness was aware of it? And I'll tell a very interesting story about this, because there are things that can mess with that. I might have been at a party maybe a few years ago where I had taken some substances that weren't exactly legal. Okay, they're legal in the state of Colorado. And Washington. But so here's the thing. So we're sitting around.
You smoked gay marriage.
I did, and it was fabulous. So I was sitting around at the table with a whole bunch of my friends, and we were playing Texas Hold'em. We were drinking beer and we were playing cards. Now my other friend Kippo was in the kitchen, and he's like, I'm gonna make me some eggs. And we're like, I make enough for everybody. So he was, I don't know what he's making an omelet. God only knows if we ever actually ate the omelet, I can't remember. But so I'm watching this happen because I'm like, this kid is gonna burn the house down. And his arm moved, and he accidentally smacked into the salt and pepper shakers, which fell over on the metal stove. And my whole body jerked. And then I heard the sound of them hitting. The sound that made me start, I heard after my body had reacted. And I thought about it later, and I realized that whatever substance that I might possibly have ingested, well, not really ingested, but you know what I mean, whatever substance that I had in me had altered my perception of sense to the point where I perceived hearing the stimuli after I'd already responded to it. Ah, aha, ha 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 ha, she said.
Dun 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 dun.
So there you go.
It's an interesting story. It's about perception.
There you go.
Yeah.
I win. Logical fallacies, I win.
Sins, etc.
Sins, you lose. This is how you win with Hagan. You just say sins and then run away before anything can happen to you.
Plus, you have to have the debate with Hagan whenever she's operating on about 35%.
Jacket explosion?
Yes.
If you ever see Hagan at a convention, you should totally come up to her and say jacket explosion. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if that was a real thing that happened when I was incredibly tired.
It was great.
Also, I came up with the idea that soy was nearly a fungus.
That was a different time.
But, basically...
Well,
okay.
So why do you think that we're just, like, biological machines? Because if that's the case, why develop higher reasoning, evolutionarily speaking, because it only ever gets us into trouble. See, also, hey, y'all, watch this.
Evolution doesn't know about those things.
It's not a conscious thing. It's the path of least resistance. Like, it was on Cosmos, about, well, then how did the eye evolve? Well, it evolved from being something that fit at the time to being something even better to being something, doesn't really work, but, it's a process. What isn't helpful gets filtered out. And
yes, it was all like, this is a little bit useful, this is more useful, more useful, more useful, more useful. And with the higher consciousness, it's a case of intelligence is useful. So in the niche we found ourselves in...
But intelligence is not the same as what you're talking about, though.
I disagree.
Like, you can be intelligent, but you don't possess full self-awareness. Like, take dogs, like, especially seeing eye dogs, because helper dogs are usually, picked for their intelligence. But are dogs self-aware? We know that some of the higher primates are self-aware, but how high does that primate level go? Are, like, capuchins self-aware? Like, you can't say that self-awareness is the same as intelligence, because you can have very intelligent animals that are not self-aware.
Yeah, but dogs are nowhere near as intelligent as us.
That's true, but it's an example of this thing has intelligence.
The more intelligent a species is, the more chance that they have self-awareness. As far as I can tell, self-awareness is a side effect of being very intelligent.
It's possible.
That's just how I view that, but I still see it as just meat machines. And, the consciousness is a side effect of it's a side effect of having a brain. But, the fact that we have self-awareness just means that we're very intelligent. We have sort of very, very, well-working brains, at least compared to things like mollusks.
But mollusks are invertebrates.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. But I don't know, like, I think that you're trying to apply not too much science. I think you're trying to misapply science. Not trying, but you're succeeding to misapply science.
It's possible I could be doing the wrong thing.
If you're not self-aware, right, the show?
I could be completely wrong, and I'm open to being self-aware.
Well, I should hope so. Because you told the District of Columbia that you upon your solemnness were getting married to me, and if you're not self-aware, we got some splaining to do.
Well, there's various types of free will. Like, for instance, there is absolute free will, which no one under any circumstances can claim we have. Absolute free will would be like anything you want to happen and you want to do, you can do.
Well, obviously there's going to be physical limitations. I want to fly, that's not happening.
Yes, that is an example of why we do not have absolute free will.
But again, that's...
This is why there's lots of philosophical arguments, but that's why I was talking about definitions at the start, because
but see, the thing is, that just doesn't even work, because you can say, well, if I had absolute free will, I'd be able to fly. No, physically you can't. Sorry, I mean, you're flapping your wings kind of flying.
That's why at the start I commented about the various definitions, because even though we just use the term free will, it actually has many different sub-meanings, depending on what you mean.
My brain hurts.
There's deterministic free will, there's compatibilistic free will, there's a couple other ones. And most people seem to be compatibilists or...
Well, honey, I can sum that up. There's actually a very famous quote from a very famous philosopher that addresses exactly what you're talking about. Some people, they don't think it be like it is, but it do. It's like, okay, so we're kind of running out of time because... We're running out of time, everybody.
This This really should be like, we get about 4 other people and then do like 2 hours on it or something.
Hey, listeners. Are you a philosophy major? Do you have a degree in philosophy? Do you have Skype? Would you like to tell us why I'm right and Hagen's wrong? Hopefully. Comment when this goes up on that guy with the glasses or her WordPress or whatever.
Yeah.
And
remember,
have you on the show. Because
remember, I mentioned that we might be thinking about the same thing but using different definitions. I have no grounding in the official use of definitions and things, so I could be wrong on that. I could be...
That's how you backing up.
No, I'm just saying. Perhaps what my view I'm describing is actually not a lack of belief in free will. I don't know. I would like to be schooled.
Look, I just know that I had to read The Republic by Plato, which made me want to shoot him in the head.
Plato's an idiot.
Basically, here's my opinion of Plato. You guys, I followed Socrates and his friends around for a while, and I wrote down everything they said. Let me talk to you about unjust man one more time. Shut the fuck up, Plato. It's just whatever. But yeah, so free will and stuff and things. I mean, I think that, okay, here's my last word on the matter. Here is the Zelda Ocarina of Time metaphor for life, okay? So, have you played Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the N64?
No.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Why not?
I didn't have an N64, and I don't really care for Zelda.
No excuse. So anyway, there's a part where you're in a temple, which is not surprising because you spend most of your time in temples. But so, you're a big Link now. You're the grown-up Link. And the part of the temple that you're in, there are huge blocks. And the blocks take up the whole space between the ceiling and the floor. And these blocks are constantly shifting. But some of the blocks have empty parts under them. And you can't see what's in those empty little pits until you fall into them. So it could be spikes, or fire, or something horrible, or lava. But it could just be an empty hole with a treasure chest in it. You don't know until you fall into it. So you have to decide what to do as that block is moving. Are you going to stay where you are and let the block push you? Are you going to fall into the hole that might be under it? Are you going to move to a different part of the temple entirely? And you can only make your best decision at that time. And, maybe you missed a treasure chest, or maybe, oh shit, well, now you fell into spikes and lava and it's the end for you. And it's the same way with life, as you can only move or stay as you see fit at that time. Amen.
But from my point of view...
So everyone who's a gamer should immediately go quote me, so I'll be famous.
And in my view, which could well be completely wrong, and I want to know if it is, your decision that you make was not your decision because it was predetermined by the starting conditions of the universe billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of years ago.
You need to read a book about chaos theory.
Possibly.
I can get you one, because I read one when I was a kid. Which, admittedly, was a little bit too complicated for me because I'm not really good at math, but,
It's entirely possible that I'm one of the sharpest minds of the 17th century.
Psh. 17th century, more anyway.
Let's party like it's 1768.
So, yeah, so if you're out there and you actually do know what... Stop that. If you're out there and you actually do know what you're talking about, let us know and we'll get you on the show. Because I am nothing if not told that I'm wrong a lot, so... There you go.
Yeah, I fully admit I'm going to be told I'm wrong because I probably am, and because even if I'm not wrong,
you're always wrong when I'm around. Like even the way you do the dishes, I'm like wrong. You lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah, but even if I am right, here's the thing. I know my view is extremely unpopular.
Yeah, well.
So though I am happy to be wrong.
Okay, I'm happy to see you be wrong, honey.
Okay, I realize that one of the most abrasive parts of my personality is that I like to...
Pick fights with strangers on the internet? I agree.
Yes. But I like to, in these sort of fights, I like to demonstrate when someone's wrong if I'm right. But at the same time, I like to be demonstrated to be wrong so I can improve. As far as I can tell, that's a good way to improve your mind. Yeah. And I want to be as right as I can. And the way to do that is to be proved wrong. I don't want to assume that I'm right.
Well, I will tell you do the decision correctly, but, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that's just opinion. That's not a matter of fact.
I'm really a bitch today. It's really it's all going down here. But anyway, wake up, audience. We're done talking about that. It's time for One Time at the Store. Hooray! The tellings of which get ever more bittersweet as I'm approaching my final shifts at the store and realizing that for once I won't be clocking out just to clock in at a different location. It'll be for good. And I'll give the preamble, because otherwise I forget where I am when I edit this. But so, if this is your first time listening to Lesbian Talk, it's time for One Time at the Store. For the past 10.5 years, I have been working at a large chain bookstore. I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it all, and sometimes I get my revenge, and this is one of those times. So, this took place on Saturday afternoon, and I was back in the children's department, and I had been doing something called zone maintenance. This is where you go through a section, you scan all the books, you take out the books that shouldn't be there, put everything in alphabetical order, and the books that the publishers want back, you pull. So, easy. So I came over to the desk to mark down my progress, and the phone was ringing off the hook, so I answered it. And the customer immediately was like, yeah, well, it took you long enough to answer. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. How can I help you today? And he just went off on me about this order that he'd made, and no one called or emailed him, and blah, 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 and this is unacceptable. And I said, well, give me your information, and I can look up your order. That's not a problem. So he's yelling at me, and he gives me his information, so I'm able to pull up his order. And I was like, oh, well, sir, we received this. It looks like we received this yesterday. So just come on in and pick it up. We'll hold it for you for 2 weeks. He's like, why didn't you call me? And he went nuclear. And I said, well, let me just confirm that we have the right order, sir. And I paused because I'm looking at the screen with his order on it, and I'm next to the play area. There's about 4 families milling around, you know, with their kids, and the kids are playing, you know, with the toys. The parents are reading to them or reading to themselves, you know. So I had a lot of adult company there. So I said, okay, sir, I just want to make sure and confirm this. Your order of How to Date Asian Women and Tickle His Pickle were received yesterday at blah 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 time. We will hold them for you to those. Is that the correct title? You did order Tickle His Pickle and How to Date Asian Women? Yes, I did. And so now all the adults are looking at me and smirking. Okay, sir. Well, like I said, we do have confirmed that order confirmed. Like I said, just come on in any time and pick it up. Okay, goodbye. And all the adults are snickering, and I was like, you deserve it, you bastard. And that's my story. Just saying.
Picking on that poor man who had no free will to choose otherwise.
Well, he had a lot of free will to choose otherwise. He was trying to choose Asian women, but I don't think they were choosing him. I mean, I'm just saying.
And you say it absolutely very well.
I know. I told this story on Facebook today on my personal Facebook account because there's a bookseller that I know through social media who actually does a webcomic about being a bookseller. And he had a story from, I think, a few months ago that was very similar.
Why would anyone want to eat pickle?
Pickles are awesome. You just don't understand. You guys will pickle, like, disgusting things like eggs and onions, but you won't pickle cucumbers, which is what is in the Bible, because that's what God intended for us all.
Pickled onion is wonderful as a crisp flavor.
I don't like that, but we did make pickled red onions the last time we made pickles here at my house, and they were fantastic. Although they did stain the vinegar pink, which was also interesting.
You're slowly turning into a European if you're having pickled onions.
We pickle strips. We don't pickle the whole thing and then keep it around as an experiment like you guys do.
You know one of the weird things that you'll spot over here?
Oh dear, what?
We do not call pork rinds pork rinds.
You call them pork scratching, don't you?
Yep.
Which sounds like some kind of uncomfortable skin disorder.
And I've had them before, and it's like I avoid them because...
Yeah, I don't like... I mean, pork rinds are okay, but I wouldn't be like, oh boy, let's eat some pork rinds, us. Let's just...
I don't see the point of eating them like crisps. My family being Scottish, I grew up eating crackling, which is the pig skin which has just been roasted and it's still warm.
That's actually really good. I could feel my arteries constricting, but it was very good. That one's also had it.
Semi-liquid, semi-almost liquidy, and you're dissolving in your mouth other parts which are really crunchy. It's fucking fantastic.
So there you go, you guys. Now you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, what did we watch this week?
We watched 2 of the not terriblest of David Tennant's stories from his 2nd season.
We watched The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit, which I kept thinking Lazarus Pit instead and then got disappointed that there wasn't any David Warner involved. But so, quick synopsis. So the TARDIS land. Actually, I like the beginning because it was a really poignant, dig at the show, where the TARDIS lands on some spaceship and they're like, oh, well, it's probably okay. And the doctor says, well, I mean, or no, was it Rose or the doctor? I think it was. Oh yeah. So Rose says, well, it's okay. I mean, if it turns out to be dangerous, we could just get back on the TARDIS and go away. And they're like, yeah, right. We'd ever do that. And I was like, yeah, so many episodes of Doctor Who could have gone a lot better for everyone if they just stayed the fuck on the TARDIS. But yeah. So they're on this planet that's on the edge of a black hole, but for some reason is not being pulled into the black hole, which the Doctor is quick to tell us is impossible, because I'm pretty sure it is in real life.
Actually, there are things that orbit black holes, and it's not at all impossible. What's impossible is for the steady orbit to happen once you've passed the event horizon. Oh. And they haven't passed the event horizon. The event horizon, if I remember correctly, is the point where it actually becomes black, because light's not escaping anymore.
Well, yeah, so there's humans, and then there's the Ood, who I know from the 11th Doctor episodes will become more important later on. And everyone's plucky and awesome, and they're humans using their ingenuity because there's something at the middle of the planet, some kind of energy signature that is preventing this planet from being sucked up by the black hole, and of course they want to find it and make money out of it. And shenanigans happen, and the devil is raised, and the young sexy girl dies first, which made me sad.
And
no, I don't mean Rose.
We all wish Rose dies first.
She's not sexy. No, she wasn't that bad in this one.
Okay, the devil thing apparently it took them a long time to work out what was going to be in the pit. At one point it was going to be Davros, creator of the Daleks, for some reason.
That would have been pretty cool. I thought they were going to go all Cthulian. And they're like, oh no, it's actually the concept of the devil, who was trapped here before matter existed, except he was trapped in matter for some reason. It's just so bad.
Isn't that basically what they did?
Yeah, that's what I meant. And there's a scene at the end where the Doctor's talking at this god thing, and the god thing isn't sentient and can't talk back. So you basically have David Tennant monologuing, but it's not very good, that part. Like, it worked when it happened with Matt Smith in Rings of Akhenaten, but for some reason this just kind of fell flat. But spoilers, everybody wins. Well, okay, except for the people that died.
Yeah, like 2 people survived. 3.
And all of the Ood got killed.
Yeah, no, they didn't give a shit. The Doctor's like, I gotta save one human or all the Ood. I'll save the one human. Speciesist.
Well, the next time they see the Ood, I hope the Ood lamp them one for, misbehavior, but...
Nearly.
All the Ood are like, we're nice, too bad, die. Oh, fuck.
Originally it was supposed to be Davros down there. Then they decided it would be some sort of evil satanic type figure, blah. But then they wanted to get Chris Evans, not Captain America, who was a UK he was like a talk show type host, and he was married to Billie Piper at the time, for him to voice it, and then he refused to for some reason. So literally at the last minute they got Gabriel Wolfe to voice the beast, the evil, Satan thing.
Like, I mean, it had a really good build-up, and it felt kind of very claustrophobic when they were like, well, the TARDIS is gone, Doctor and Rose, so welcome to the crew, so you're going to work on this rotation. And it felt very science fiction-y and very cool. Like, I was like, alright, cool. And then they're like all these portents and signs that things are happening. I'm like, wow, that's good. It's suitably creepy. But then I'm like, alright, I get that this is supposed to be an entity that is the concept, what every major race and religion uses, the concept of evil, but it felt hokey. I mean, everyone's personal dramas, even like the side characters, were very well thought out and scripted, but it was just kind of like, oh no, it's the devil.
But the,
just saying.
Can I get back to Gabriel Wolfe? I had a point.
Oh, fine. I was being all analytical and shit.
Oh no, this is going to lead into that.
Okay.
Gabriel Wolfe, voiced Sutekh in the 4th Doctor story, The Pyramids of Mars, and he was basically the ancient Egyptian godlike race for their version of Satan.
Not Sutekh.
Yes. But then, so you got that.
Isn't Sutekh the one where they, on the special release DVD or something like that, they did a little mini documentary of like Sutekh in his day or something?
Yep.
Okay, I knew I was thinking of something.
So they have this guy voicing pretty much the same character, because Sutekh claims to be like, inspiration of a lot of people's versions of Satan and stuff, and they have him playing the same character, and they have them not be the same character. And then they have the beast being all like, I am the originator of all of the versions of evil. But then you have like the demons in John Pertwee's era, where you have the race of this horned race from the planet Deimos, who are very, very powerful, who also apparently originate lots of people's ideas about Satan and stuff. So it's like they've taken 2 different episodes from the 70s Doctor Who and jammed them together.
Was Gabriel Wolfe like sitting around being like, maybe they'll call today? Maybe it'll be the day that they want me back.
Gabriel Wolf is so damn good. His voice is awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome voice. Yeah, I mean, it was just, and like, a lot of it, see, the thing is, I kind of feel bad, but I don't know why the Doctor continually gets upset when he quote-unquote loses his TARDIS, because it's never lost, really. Like, as soon as there's a part where, like, they get hit by, a meteor, I think, or an earthquake or something. And part of the tunnels collapse, and that's, of course, the part where the TARDIS was. And they're like, sorry, Doctor, we can't drill down there to get there. We don't have enough resources. Guess you're one of us now. And he was like, but... And I was like, oh, come on. There's going to be some reason for you to go down into the mines and find it. And then they acted like when he was down there, like, how will I get out of here? Oh, no. And he, like, falls against the TARDIS, and he's like, the music's all like, blah. And I'm like, really? You didn't think that would be down there after we saw it fall down there? Oh.
Yeah, Russell's era was full on emotion, not so much on logic.
Surprise! Of course you always fucking find the TARDIS. That's why it's a TARDIS.
One of the things that always bothers me about this story is the fact that the Doctor is bothered by the idea that the Beast is before the dawn of time. But the Doctor's like, if he said he came from outside the universe, I could believe him, but not before. That's insane. And I'm like, dude, were you deliberately writing this as a way to fuck over the sort of the Doctor Who non-TV fans? Because in the books they have a whole section of stuff about these great beings from the Doctor's past, which all came from the prior universe, and they survived the sort of the destruction of a previous universe. They survived the Big Bang, and they became great, powerful things in the new universe.
Well, that's why I was thinking they were going for something Cthulian, like, you know...
Yeah. Which is exactly, you know...
It's like, I came from a time before matter and energy, except I can only be made of one of those things. Just saying. Or
like
both of them.
They were setting him up as another one of those Cthulhu things, and having the Doctor who's faced against monsters who are just like that, you know, if you look at the expanded universe. And he's, like, bothered by it. It's like, outside... You can't be outside the universe.
Yeah,
it's everything.
But the 10th Doctor has wine issues because of the Time War. He's just not quite over it, but... Although it was, so Rose the thing that I do like about Rose, though, is that she's not your father's companion. Like, she actually will take action. Like, you know, back in the day, the Doctor would be like, you stay here. But Doctor, no, just stay here and need to be rescued later. But, so the guy's manifesting his devil powers, because actually the brain of the devil entity got in, it's complicated. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you guys, I'm just saying. And so she takes the gun, she's like, go to hell, and shoots out the windshield of the rocket, and then unclips his seatbelts, and he's pulled out into the void. And then they're like, oh no, emergency shields, which I'm thinking Rose couldn't have known that they had, but whatever. I thought that was kind of badass. So, really, she was thinking that she was sacrificing all of them.
Don't quite agree with you, the idea that it's not your father's companion, because companions would have done that as far back as Hartnell's era, like, Sarah Kingdom would have done that, Jamie would have done that.
Yeah, but it always just seems that, like, whenever the companion does something vaguely proactive, Doctor's like, no, don't, be effective.
Yeah, but some companions are all, can do it anyway. So it's a concept, even in the new show, some companions are more proactive than others. It's not a uniform thing.
All companions are proactive, but some are more proactive than others.
Yes. What I find weird about that, she hits the thing and, he flies forward into the black hole, which indicates they were flying towards the black hole.
Well, they were at that point because the gravity thing from the planet shut down. Yeah,
but if it's going shut down, then it should have sucked them backwards towards the black hole.
No, they did, because they were the thing went down and they were facing towards it, and then the Doctor turned them around and pulled them out.
Oh, I realized that they were facing towards the black hole for the fall, but logically they shouldn't have been. The ship shouldn't have swung around to face the black hole. It should have just been pulled backwards.
Yeah.
So silly episode, but you're being silly in a different part than you'd expect.
I think now you're just nitpicking.
Knitting.
Or whatever. But yeah, so. And the Doctor's like, it's a language that's too old for the TARDIS. And I was like, okay, this could be cool. Or not like too old for the TARDIS, just something that was so divorced from the concept of language in this universe that the TARDIS had no basis to try to translate it.
That's a good idea, and that would be a thing I'd like to see them go with, but unfortunately it looks too much like a language to be recognized for that to be the case.
Well, you don't know. How many languages do you speak?
I know, but it looks like it's got a script and everything.
It's got a script, but what if it's it's pictogram in nature, and all of those represent something from an actual world that we have no basis for. I mean, that's the problem with pictogrammic language. Like, you could make something up. Oh, okay, not these days because computers, but back in the day, you could make something up, like make your own in cipher language. You could say, I found this in a tomb, and it's really old. People are like, ooh. But it just could be something that's so, I mean, you don't know how alien language works.
Well, yeah, but the TARDIS, and the TARDISes with their psychic things, the era of when something was created has never ever been a factor before. And the alienness or anything like that, it's always worked.
I'm just saying that my idea is viable.
I think your idea is viable. I just don't think this episode did it.
Well, of course it didn't do it, because no one asked me.
Well, I know, but that's if they're trying to explain the fact that the writing, the way it looked. Because it did not look enough, it looked too much like language that we could recognize to be as you are suggesting. So your idea is good. They dropped the ball again, not you.
Okay, good. But yeah, so I liked it. You know, I thought it did kind of shit the bed a little bit at the end, or how I would have wanted it to end, but that's just me. But yeah.
And then it has a sequel in, like, Torchwood, where the son of the beast...
Oh yeah, I noticed the guy was like, I command you in the name of Torchwood Arc. I'm like, aha, it all goes back to Torchwood, doesn't it?
Well, this was season 2, you see. Russell's ideas of story arcs in season 1 and 2 and all were reference something in every single episode, and then in the finale reveal what that thing is. So in season 2, it's like, oh look, here's an episode where we talk about where we have Torchwood House, and then this other episode, oh look, the Torchwood Archive, oh look, we're talking about Torchwood again, and then the end, hello, this is Torchwood. It's like, that's not a fucking story arc,
This fall on the
Russell.
BBC.
That's not a story arc, Russell. That's you name dropping something, you idiot.
Well, I mean, if you got to promo a pilot, you got to promo a pilot, you know?
Well, they already had Captain Jack in it.
Captain Jack will get you.
In the last episode of season 1 of Torchwood,
I'm surprised that no one has taken the song Captain Jack by Billy Joel and filked it for Jack Harkness. I mean, I'm sure it's out there somewhere in the internet.
Probably somewhere.
Yeah.
But the finale of season 1 of Torchwood is about the son of the beast, Abaddon, which is made of terrible looking CGI, wandering over Cardiff and, you know, killing people with his shadow.
It's always about Cardiff. Hey, there was an X-Files episode about that.
Cardiff?
No, someone killing people with their shadow, because it was actually like...
Oh, that was like Tony Shelhub.
Yeah. And yeah. I think the episode was actually called Dark Shadows or something like that.
Now with Johnny Depp.
No, it was, I think it was like a 3rd or 4th season X-Files. Google it, I'm sure it's out there. So anyway, what should we watch for next week?
Gotta see Matt Smith, so, do you have any thoughts?
No, this is your show, remember? You're the Doctor Who one.
We are gonna watch season 6, episode 10, The Girl Who Waited.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. In
another
fan art throughout the internet.
That's another good one. And it was inspired by Colin Baker's Terror of the Vervods.
It's like inspired by Colin Baker? That's great.
Dun-da-da.
It's so bad because this morning I was doing some work for my day job. It was just database work, so I was like, well, I might as well do the watching today. So I had Netflix on and I'm watching The Impossible Planet. And Colin Baker tweets, just having a spot of tea on a break at Big Finish. And I'd be like, what a coincidence, I'm watching Doctor Who right now. But I didn't tweet that because that would have felt like I was fawning, so.
You can fawn if you want.
And leave my world behind.
Yes.
Right. So, it's now time for the last part of the show, the part that we couldn't get rid of even though we tried. It's time for Giovanni's trivia question. And Giovanni, are you with us this week?
Yeah, boss, sure I am. So, how y'all doing, cats, kittens, and mammals of all ages?
Alive.
Well, that's good, because otherwise you'd be dead. So, I have to announce my favorite mammal of this week. It was Super Neko once more. Who knew that? What does a possum have 13 of? And it was nipples. So their porn is probably really fucked up, just saying. And
yes. A lot of people got that.
I just realized that there's probably fan art of that somewhere, so I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. But I thought I'd go a little bit more obscure, and I realized that we were picking a lot of trivia questions that maybe Europeans wouldn't know so much. So don't worry, Europeans, I'm going to cater to you this week. And I figure that Dirk Cork's probably going to get it first, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be somebody else. So, you know Pez, the Pez dispenser, those little teeny candies that kind of taste like butt, but you eat them anyway? Well, Pez it's a brand name, but it's also an acronym that comes from a word. What word is the name Pez based off of? And remember, no Google, no Alta Vista, no Bing, no cheating. The first person after this goes on Blip that tweets it at Omega, that's at the Omega Geek, you're my favorite mammal for next week.
Pez means ass.
It does not mean ass, that would be stupid.
Well, it might. No, you've just made their their question harder for them. Easier for them.
Out of all of the words of ever, it's not this one.
See, their job is easier now.
So, anyway, I will see you all next week, my adoring radio public.
You always say that every time. You're like, here's a weird answer. And Giovanni's like, no. And you're like, aha, now they know it's not that. And I'm like, they wouldn't have thought it was that anyway.
Well, in a 2004 episode of Sesame Street, Cookie Monster said that before he started eating cookies, his name was Sid.
That's pretty cool, actually. So, again, just a warning so nobody freaks out when it happens, because I will be moving probably in the next few weeks. It's still up in the air about the visa, when I'll be getting that. You may end up at the end of the month with a best of special, but don't worry, we will be doing an episode right after the new episode of Doctor Who, so it'll be covered.
Indeed, probably.
So, for this week, I've been the Omega Geek, and who do you have want to have been this week?
Someone else.
But you always say that.
But I don't have the free will to do otherwise.
Oh, for Christ's sake.